Plato described Atlantis more than 2,000 years ago in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. He spoke not merely of a city, but of a powerful civilization, technologically advanced and spiritually enlightened. A society that lived in harmony with nature, order, and higher knowledge. Imagine it. Towering temples made of orichalcum, canals glistening under the sun, and people who seemed to possess wisdom far beyond their time. Atlantis was a shining example of balance, a world that flourished under virtue and reason, until greed and pride began to corrupt its people, and then, in a single day and night of misfortune, the island was swallowed by the sea. Gone without a trace. No survivors, no ruins, only whispers left behind. For thousands of years, that single story, a civilization erased overnight, has haunted the human imagination. But here's the question. Did Plato invent an allegory, or was he describing a forgotten chapter of human history? If it was just a story, the lesson is clear. Every great civilization destroys itself when it loses touch with wisdom. Yet the details in his writings feel too precise to dismiss. The geography, the architecture, the technology. Could Plato have been recounting ancient knowledge passed down through generations? According to him, the story came not from Greece, but from Egyptian priests, guardians of memories older than Greece itself. They told of a mighty empire that vanished beneath the waves after a series of cataclysms. Think about that. Priests speaking of a civilization that ruled the seas, possessed immense power, and then was wiped from existence. Could this be a distorted memory of a real event? A civilization erased long before recorded history even began. Entire cities have been lost and rediscovered. From Pompeii frozen in ash to ruins hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara. Every discovery reminds us how fragile human greatness truly is. So who's to say Atlantis isn't still out there, buried beneath centuries of ocean and mystery, waiting to be found? So I'll ask you this. Was Atlantis a symbol of human arrogance, or an echo of something real, something we were never meant to remember? What do you believe? Volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, sudden shifts in climate. Throughout history, nature has shown us how fragile human civilization can be. Empires rise and fall with a single tremor, a wave, a cloud of ash. Entire worlds, thriving, breathing, erased in hours. Take the island of Santorini, once known as Thera. Around 1600 BC, a massive volcanic eruption tore it apart, one of the most violent natural disasters in history. The explosion sent shockwaves across the Aegean, tsunamis that devastated coastal cities, and ash that darkened the sky for months. Imagine the sound, the ground trembling, the ocean rising like a living wall. For those who lived there, it must have felt like the wrath of the gods themselves. Many archaeologists believe this event inspired Plato's Atlantis, a flourishing civilization wiped out by nature's fury. The people of Thera were part of the Minoan world, one of the most advanced societies of their time. They had multi-story buildings, plumbing, frescoes, and vast trade networks. They mastered the sea and blended art, science, and spirituality into one. Sound familiar? It's almost exactly how Plato described Atlantis. A wealthy island civilization, powerful, radiant, and destroyed in a single night. So was Plato's tale just an allegory, or a retelling of real events passed down through time until myth and memory became one? Imagine survivors of Thera's destruction sailing into the unknown, carrying stories of the paradise they lost to fire and water. Those stories, retold through generations, could have evolved into legend, and eventually into the myth of Atlantis. But what if Atlantis wasn't just Thera? What if it was one of many cities swallowed by the sea during Earth's turbulent past? The planet's history is full of cataclysms, floods, ice ages, shifting continents. Civilizations could have risen and fallen long before our recorded history began. It's unsettling to think about, isn't it? That entire chapters of human existence might be missing, buried under oceans and time. But maybe that's why the legend still haunts us, because it forces us to ask how much we truly know about our own past. Could Plato have been right all along? Was he preserving the memory of a lost world that nature and time tried to erase? Across the world's oceans, Beneath layers of sand, coral, and silence lie structures that defy explanation. In places like Yonaguni, Japan, Bimini, in the Bahamas, even off the coast of Cuba, divers have found what appear to be massive stone formations, steps, terraces, walls that look anything but natural. Imagine descending into the deep blue. Your flashlight cuts through centuries of darkness, and there, from the shadows, emerge perfectly carved blocks, sharp angles, and corridors that lead nowhere. It feels less like geology and more like memory. The Yonaguni Monument, off Japan's Ryukyu Islands, is one of the most famous examples. Its sharp angles and geometric terraces look man-made. Some say it's natural erosion, but others believe it's the last trace of an ancient civilization, one that existed long before recorded history. Then there's the Bimini Road, discovered in 1968 near the Bahamas, a long path of stone blocks stretching into the sea. Divers describe it as eerie, sacred, like walking through a forgotten boulevard. And here's where it gets strange. Decades earlier, the psychic Edgar Cayce predicted that the ruins of Atlantis would rise near Bimini in the year 1968. Coincidence? Or something more? And off Cuba's coast, sonar scans revealed vast geometric shapes, pyramids even, nearly 700 meters below the surface. The formations cover several square kilometers, older than any known civilization. Imagine that. A city older than history itself, sleeping in the ocean's dark heart. But perhaps the most intriguing clue isn't underwater. It's a map. The Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513, shows parts of South America and Antarctica with incredible accuracy. Even more curious, it depicts Antarctica without ice, as if charted thousands of years ago when the continent was green. How could that be? Who could have drawn maps of lands still unknown to history? So, what does all this mean? Are these coincidences, or are we seeing fragments of something real? Pieces of a civilization erased by cataclysm? Think about it. We've explored less than 10% of our oceans. That means 90% of Earth's secrets, and maybe 90% of our true history, remain hidden beneath the waves. Are these underwater mysteries mere geology, or the last whispers of a world that once ruled the seas? For centuries, explorers and dreamers have chased one question: where was Atlantis? From ancient maps to modern sonar, from dusty scrolls to the deep sea, humanity has searched for a world that may, or may not, have existed. Theories span the globe: the Mediterranean, the Canary Islands, the Caribbean, even Antarctica. Each location carries clues, geological, cultural, linguistic, that seem to connect to Plato's lost island. In the Mediterranean, many point again to Santorini or Crete, home of the Minoans. Both were maritime powers destroyed by natural disaster. Ancient ruins, sudden floods, fiery destruction, all mirror Plato's account. Further west, the Canary Islands fit his description of an island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, today's Strait of Gibraltar. Some believe these islands are the mountain peaks of Atlantis, the last visible remnants of a drowned continent. Even local legends speak of glowing temples beneath the sea and ancestors from a sunken land. And in the Caribbean, strange stone formations lie beneath turquoise waters, near the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Yucatan. Some see them as natural, others as remnants of a forgotten age. Indigenous myths tell of ancient floods, lost islands, and civilizations swallowed by the ocean. Could these stories be fragments of the same memory, or echoes of many lost worlds? Then there's Antarctica, the coldest, most mysterious theory of all. Geological evidence suggests it wasn't always frozen. Some researchers believe parts of it were once green and habitable, rivers, forests, even life. And the Piri Reis map seems to agree. Could it be that Atlantis lies not under the sea, but beneath the ice, preserved like a time capsule from another age? Finally, the Atlantic itself, where Plato said Atlantis once stood. Along the mid-Atlantic ridge, scientists have found unusual plateaus, ridges, and formations that hint at a vanished landmass. Imagine a continent torn apart by tectonic forces, swallowed slowly by the rising sea. If all these places hold pieces of the puzzle, could Atlantis have been more than one city? What if it was a global civilization, a network of cultures sharing knowledge and fate, perishing together when the earth itself changed? Maybe that's why traces of the same legend appear everywhere, from Greek philosophy to Mayan myths, from Egyptian temples to Norse sagas. Each culture remembers a golden age, a great flood, a lost land. The pattern is too familiar to ignore. So I'll ask you this. Why do so many clues point in different directions? Is it because we're chasing a myth? Or because Atlantis was never just one place, but a shared memory of something the entire world once knew? What do you think? What if Atlantis was never just a city? What if it was something greater? A collective memory, a shadow of civilizations that existed before the dawn of recorded history. Every culture tells of a golden age, a time when humanity lived in balance, then fell after a great disaster. From the Sumerians to the Maya, the Egyptians to the Polynesians, the pattern repeats. Could all these stories be fragments of one truth, scattered across time? Maybe Atlantis wasn't a place, but a symbol, a memory encoded in human consciousness. A story of what happens when knowledge outgrows wisdom. And what if some of that knowledge was hidden, deliberately? Imagine a truth so powerful it had to be buried. Knowledge of ancient energy, technology, or origins that didn't fit the narrative of our history. Structures like the Great Pyramid, Baalbek, Stonehenge, all show impossible precision, as if guided by hands that knew more than they should. Who passed that knowledge on? And why does it feel as though someone wanted us to forget? Perhaps the legend of Atlantis isn't about where it was, but what was lost. A warning whispered through time. Humanity once reached incredible heights, only to fall through arrogance and imbalance, the very flaws Plato warned about still alive in us today. And maybe that's why the truth remains hidden. Buried beneath the ocean, beneath ice, beneath rewritten history, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Because here's the haunting truth. We've only touched the surface of our planet's memory. The ocean keeps its secrets well. Somewhere down there, beyond the reach of light, may lie the proof that history as we know it is incomplete. So I'll leave you with this. What if Atlantis isn't a myth we need to find, but a truth we were never meant to remember? Maybe the story of Atlantis isn't about a sunken world. Maybe it's about us, who we were, what we lost, and what we might become again, if we dare to uncover the truth that sleeps beneath the sea. Was Atlantis just a legend? Or the buried memory of an ancient world that once walked among the waves?